Single dad sees a poor blind girl abandoned at the bus stop. The truth left him stunned. The rain was falling hard enough to blur the streetlights into trembling halos when Nathan Carter noticed the girl at the bus stop, sitting unnaturally still as if the night itself had forgotten her. She wore a thin dress soaked through, her hands folded tightly around a white cane, her eyes covered by dark glasses despite the late hour. People passed by, cars splashed water onto the curb, and yet no one stopped. Nathan felt a sudden ache in his chest, the kind that came before tears or truth, and he had no idea that this moment would change his life forever. Before the story goes any further, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of one human being to change another's life, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps keep stories like this alive. Nathan was a single father living in Columbus, Ohio, a man who had learned how fragile life could be. 3 years earlier, his wife Abigail had died after a sudden illness, leaving him alone to raise their 8-year-old son, Caleb. Since then, Nathan's world had become a careful routine of school drop-offs, late-night work shifts, and quiet dinners filled with memories he tried not to revisit. That night, he had stayed late at the auto repair shop where he worked, trying to earn extra money for Caleb's school trip. He was tired, soaked from the rain, and ready to go home, yet something about the girl at the bus stop pulled him in like a silent prayer. She looked young, barely in her early 20s, her posture tense as if she expected to be scolded for existing. Her clothes were clean but worn, and her shoes had holes that let rain touch her skin. The bus stop sign flickered above her, and Nathan noticed that several buses had already passed without her moving. It became clear she was waiting for something that was never coming. Nathan hesitated, his mind filling with questions and fears, but his heart had already decided. He approached slowly, not wanting to startle her, and offered help in the gentlest way he knew. The girl's name was Ruth Miller. She explained, through trembling breaths, that she had been blind since childhood and had traveled from Kentucky to Ohio with a distant relative who promised her work and a place to stay. Instead, she had been left at the bus station with a few dollars and directions that made no sense to someone who could not see. Her phone was dead, her money gone, and the shelter she was told to find had closed hours ago. She had been sitting at the bus stop since sunset, listening to the rain and wondering if God had finally forgotten her. Nathan felt a wave of anger and sorrow mix inside him. He thought of Caleb, small hands clutching his backpack, trusting the world to be kind. He could not imagine abandoning someone so vulnerable. He offered Ruth a ride somewhere warm, even though he barely knew what he was doing. His car smelled of oil and old coffee, but to Ruth, it felt like safety. As they drove, Nathan realized how careful she was, how she memorized sounds and movements, how every new environment was a challenge she faced alone. That night, Nathan brought Ruth to a small diner that stayed open late. He watched as she ate slowly, gratefully, as if each bite mattered more than comfort. He arranged a cheap motel room for her and promised to help her figure out her next steps in the morning. What he did not expect was how deeply her quiet strength would affect him. Ruth did not complain about her situation. She spoke about faith, about believing that even in darkness, purpose existed. Her words echoed in Nathan's mind long after he returned home to Caleb, who was already asleep. Over the next few days, Nathan helped Ruth contact local charities and disability services. He learned she had grown up in foster care, moving from home to home, often treated as a burden because of her blindness. She had never known stability, never known what it felt like to be chosen. As Nathan listened, a truth began to form that left him stunned. Ruth's birthday matched the date of a baby his wife Abigail had once mentioned years ago, a child she had given up for adoption before they met. A child born into circumstances Abigail had never fully explained. Nathan's heart raced as he pieced together details Ruth shared about her birth mother, details that matched Abigail's past perfectly. When Nathan finally confirmed it through old documents Abigail had left behind, the world seemed to tilt. Ruth was Abigail's daughter. The blind girl abandoned at a bus stop was his late wife's child, a sister Caleb never knew he had. The truth shattered and healed Nathan at the same time. Abigail had carried this secret silently, perhaps out of shame or fear, and now fate had placed Ruth in his path. The weight of that realization was overwhelming. Nathan struggled with anger at Abigail for keeping such a secret and guilt for feeling angry at someone he loved and lost. He also struggled with fear, unsure if he was capable of becoming a father figure to a young woman who had suffered so much. Yet every time he considered walking away, he remembered the rain, the empty bus stop, and the way Ruth trusted him when no one else would. Slowly, change began. Nathan invited Ruth to stay with them temporarily while long-term plans were made. Caleb, curious and gentle, formed a bond with her almost instantly, describing the world to her in bright, imaginative ways. The house, once quiet and heavy with grief, began to feel alive again. Nathan learned how to guide Ruth safely, how to respect her independence while offering support. Ruth, in turn, brought warmth, faith, and resilience into their lives, reminding Nathan that love could grow even after loss. Months passed, and Ruth enrolled in a local program for the visually impaired, determined to build a future for herself. Nathan officially became her guardian, not out of obligation, but out of love. He felt Abigail's presence in quiet moments, not as a source of pain, but as a reminder that redemption sometimes comes in unexpected forms. Before we reach the end, if this story has touched your heart even a little, please take a moment now to like the video, share it with others, and subscribe to the channel. Your engagement helps spread stories of hope and compassion. As Ruth stood one evening on the same street where everything began, now confident and smiling despite the darkness she could not see, Nathan realized that the bus stop had not been a place of abandonment after all. It had been a meeting point for broken lives, stitched together by grace. Just before this story ends, we ask you to leave a comment below sharing your thoughts or a moment when kindness changed your life. Nathan often thought about how close he had been to driving past that night, how easily he could have chosen comfort over compassion. Instead, he chose to stop, and in doing so, he found family, forgiveness, and a deeper understanding of love. Ruth found more than shelter. She found belonging. And in a world that often rushes by those in need, their story stands as a quiet reminder that sometimes the truth waiting at a lonely bus stop can change everything.